So should you guys invest in Bitcoin? I've been hit with this question a few times by some of my subscribers, and really this is in response to their questions. If this is your first time tuning into the channel, I do not invest in Bitcoin. I don't, okay? I have a very, very in-depth interest in the actual blockchain technology, and I'm kind of taking a sideline approach to this, really researching. I missed the wagon. That's fine. I never, ever had an interest to invest in Bitcoin specifically, or the cryptocurrency. I'm really interested in the Ethereum platform and the technology behind the blockchain in protecting the integrity of transactions. That I'm really interested in. So for you guys that are tuning in or going to say that I don't know anything about Bitcoin, go ahead. It's true. I don't know much about the topic. I'm really interested. I'm probably representative of the vast majority of people out there, or normal people out there, colleagues of mine at work, and people that I talk about when we joke about, you know, paying for your coffee with Bitcoin, and they don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I probably fit into that camp. And you want to know something? That's all right. That's all right. You know, this thing has kind of taken us all for storm, and for the folks that have been enjoying the Bitcoin appreciation now, I think you would probably agree as well that this thing has run up quite impressively into bubble territory. Honestly, you got to be very, very careful with investing in Bitcoin. But for you guys that are joining the channel for the first time, I'm a value investor. I've been a value investor for the last 25 years, and I've seen recessionary periods. I invest in quality U.S. stocks. That's just what I do on this channel, but I'm trying to learn a little bit more about Bitcoin. And this is going to be 10 offerings to invest in instead of investing in Bitcoin. It's a little bit of a different perspective in offering my comments about what I think about Bitcoin, and whether or not I think my subscriber base, the folks that are really loyal to my opinion and my experience in the stock market, as to whether or not Bitcoin is one of those things that's a viable investment option right now. Okay, guys, welcome to the Independent Investor Channel. My name is Ryan. We're filming from New York City, New York. It's really cool to be with you guys. This is going to be my top 10 alternative things to invest in, and a lot of these holdings I actually participate in, okay? Again, like I said, I'm not a Bitcoin investor, okay? I have zero of my money in Bitcoin, and that's honestly the way it's going to stay. I mean, I've seen fads come and go. I worked through the Enron era. I've worked through the technology bubble. I've seen these things before, and as intriguing as I am about the technology, I'm paying very, very close attention to the evolution of the technology. I will not be a participant in Bitcoin in the near or midterm future. All right, guys? Number 10, what I would rather do is I would rather take my family to Chuckie Cheese. You guys realize how many Chuckie Cheese tokens that I can buy for $100? I can get a hell of a lot more value out of taking my kids out for, you know, an afternoon at Chuckie Cheese to play video games and eat pizza than I could ever justify putting my hard-earned dollars into Bitcoin. And when I say that, and I bring up this example not really to be funny, I'm not really that funny of a guy, okay? I do it to drive home a point, because do you really think that it's everyday investors that are investing in Bitcoin? Do you honestly think that somebody has taken their life savings and it's maybe 10 or 15,000, and they honestly think that they're going to take that and put it into one Bitcoin and that's somehow going to make them wealthy? Hell no. And that's not what's happening. Institutional investors are the ones that are investing in Bitcoin. Furthermore, it's individual investors that have the capital, right, to put a piece of their income into Bitcoin, and they can enjoy some of this appreciation. Now, some of those investors have taken some profits in Bitcoin, all right? One in particular that I follow has taken a $50,000 profit in Bitcoin, or part of the profit, and actually bought silver, okay? Which, if you guys are out there and you guys are Bitcoin owners, you guys are standing at the finish line drinking water, okay? Which, it's been a hell of a ride, all right? But you're finished. All right? If you've ridden this Bitcoin up and you've got in on the appreciation, I have a novel idea for you. Why don't you think about taking some profits? All right? You're a winner, okay? Now, the other section of the people who are investing in Bitcoin are the folks that really, really understand the intricacies of the blockchain technology. And for those folks, they really, really understand what it is that they're investing in. I deal with this all the time with students who want to invest in a particular stock, and they don't know the first thing about that stock, right? And so the first sign of a downturn, they'll panic and they'll exit the stock. It's the same thing with Bitcoin, and I really feel like individual investors that don't know anything about the technology really don't have any business investing in Bitcoin, and I put myself in that particular camp, all right? Number 9, I would rather invest in Oreo cookies than I would Bitcoin, all right? Again, not trying to be funny, but taking from a different perspective, all right, which I always try to offer my subscribers. I hesitated coming out with this video. I really did. I don't want to be jumping on a bandwagon of a particular vein that's hot right now in Bitcoin. Bitcoin is getting on to the futures exchanges later on this evening. That's going to be a big deal. I really think that's going to create a lot of volatility in Bitcoin, okay, where people are going to be able to short the currency, okay? But I would rather invest in Oreo cookies. Not only am I one of those fellas that separate the two halves of the cookie and I eat the frosting individually, but Mondelez, the company that makes Oreo cookie, is the international company that spun off of Kraft Foods some many years ago. And that's one of my top stock picks for 2018, if you guys are listening, Mondelez International, all right? So I would much rather take a stake in Mondelez, which I'm an avid investor in Mondelez. Hasn't done a whole lot this year. I'm looking for 2018 for that catalyst to happen in Mondelez and get some appreciation there. Number 8, silver. Silver is one of those underappreciated assets, and something that a lot of people don't talk about a lot is copper. A lot of the exchanges, the precious metal exchanges that I frequent, they don't have any copper. It's sold out. It's a very affordable metal, way more affordable than silver. Silver is extremely affordable right now, whereas I feel like gold is actually quite expensive. It's one of those things really that, you know, I don't have that type of capital to devote. I would really love to invest in gold right now, but it's just not something that I think is really intriguing, whereas silver, I think, is one of those things that you could justify buying as opposed to going into the craze of Bitcoin, okay, and participating in that bonanza. Number 7 and 6, pretty similar. Colgate-Palmolive, one of the best household products names, and then one of my personal holdings, which is Procter Gamble, all right, kind of goes with that philosophy, is I would rather invest in Tide and toothpaste than I would invest in Bitcoin. And that's my honest opinion, guys. I'm not trying to be funny here, again, because I'm not freaking funny, but I would rather invest in those things than I would Bitcoin. It just makes sense to me. It just makes sense. And hopefully this resonates for some of the viewers out there that are kind of hearing a different perspective. The last thing you really want to do is invest in with emotion, okay? The last thing you want to do is to try to catch a wave that's already gone by, okay? Procter & Gamble, Colgate-Palmolive, those companies are proven, and they will continue to be proven over time, all right? Because of the brand loyalty. Another brand loyalty company is Clorox, and I would rather invest in bleach than I would in Bitcoin, okay? If you guys are looking for a sound US-based company, I would look no further than Clorox. Clorox is a relevant company. It's been around forever. They pay a decent dividend, but it's a household name that people are they're devoted to. They're devoted to it, okay? And I would rather invest in Clorox company than I would in Bitcoin, all right? Number 4, baby soap. You betcha. Rather invest in baby soap than I would in Bitcoin. Here's why. Johnson & Johnson, one of my very favorites. I've used the product, so does everybody else in the world. I would rather invest in one of the best healthcare providing companies out there and enjoy the 3% dividend or 3.25% dividend that it offers, as opposed to going into a risky, I don't even want to call Bitcoin an investment, guys. It's a quest, honestly. And for whatever it's worth, this is just the opinion of a value investor, all right? And I would rather invest in Johnson & Johnson going into 2018 than I would try to catch the wave of Bitcoin, all right? Number 3, Star Wars. The Star Wars' release is coming out December 15th here, coming up this week. I'm a long-term holder of Disney. The Star Wars franchise was purchased by Lucasfilm Limited quite some time ago, just one of the many acquisitions that Bob Iger is responsible for at his time in the helm. I hope he gets extended on his CEO contract. I think that the stock will suffer if he ends up not getting renewed. I don't know if the Fox deal is going to go through with Disney. I hope that it does. I'm a long-term holder of both Disney, Comcast, Verizon, and AT&T. But I hope that deal happens for one of those entities, all right? But investing in Star Wars, guys, is something that I would rather do at this particular juncture because it's a tangible asset. It's a tangible franchise owned by one of the best content providers out there, which is Disney, all right? Number 2, net neutrality rules are going to come off the table this week. The government is supposed to come out and pull their net neutrality rules. I'm not going to get into it, but the companies that the net neutrality rollback of regulations is going to affect is our beaten up telecom sector. All right, now you guys need to listen up. If you're looking for alternative investment strategies, I would look no further than Comcast, AT&T, I would look at Disney, and finally I would look at Verizon, all right? Those are the companies that are going to benefit from these rollbacks in the net neutrality rules. That's number 2, all right? Now, number 1, if you stuck through me for this entire dialogue for the Bitcoin community out there, the devoted Bitcoin community who's turned me off at the beginning because they figured out that this was kind of an alternative way of looking at other things to invest in other than getting caught up in the euphoria of Bitcoin. I'm going to give you my number 1 thing that I would consider investing in before I would look to invest in Bitcoin. All right, and here it is. I'm really intrigued by the technology, the blockchain technology, but if you don't think for a second that these major technology companies like IBM, Microsoft, Oracle, CRM, Salesforce, you don't think that these guys are looking into this right now to kind of coin their own cryptocurrency? That's why there's 2,000 offerings out there, guys, right? It's not necessarily the first to get out in front. Bitcoin was the first one, and they've got a head start right now. But in technology, it's not usually the first one that jumps ahead out there to kind of define an undefined landscape that's going to benefit. And I honestly think that an alternative play here would be to enjoy alternatively going into the major companies like Microsoft, IBM, Square is actually one of those companies. CRM, Salesforce, I mentioned, and Oracle, just to name a few. But to allow the dust to kind of settle on this Bitcoin craze right now and to be looking at some of these major technology companies. And just in closing, everything that I've studied thus far on blockchain technology, I'm sold on. I think it's fantastic. I think it's a way to have a code and a key, a code and a key. And with a code and a key, it's almost impenetrable. The technology, the blockchain technology, and what it does is it protects the integrity of transactions. And that's been necessary for a lot of years now, a lot of years. And I think as some of these major companies start to adopt this blockchain technology and they start to come out with some of their own proprietary cryptocurrencies, honestly, that's what I think is going to happen. I think Microsoft, with their established relationships with their customers, may end up originating their own form of currency to put value on the particular transactions that those major technology companies are writing. Guys, if this is your first time tuning into the Independent Investor channel, I highly encourage you to subscribe to the channel. Share this video out there with anybody that you know that you think can benefit from the information, and leave your comments at the bottom. This will be an interesting commentary section. Again, I openly admitted to not knowing about Bitcoin, all right? But that doesn't mean that everybody's opinion shouldn't be respected. Furthermore, if there's people out there that have not participated in the Bitcoin craze, it doesn't mean that we're idiots. It doesn't mean that. It just means that we've stayed on the sideline for it and need to do a little bit of research on the particular technology, and that's fine. That's fine. Everybody has their own individual strategies when it comes to investing, and Bitcoin is not exempt from that. It's not. All right? So guys, leave your comments at the bottom. If this is your first time tuning into the channel, again, please hit the subscribe button for me so you'll be notified of future videos that I put on YouTube. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in, and good luck in your investment future.